That night, I thought I was just relaxing at home. I wore a simple mini skirt, nothing more, nothing less. But when he walked in and his eyes froze on me, the air in the room shifted. What started as an innocent moment quickly turned into something I never expected, and what happened next left me completely shaken. It was supposed to be an ordinary evening. I had just come back from a long day, exhausted but wanting to feel comfortable. So I slipped into a soft top and a mini skirt. To me, it was nothing out of the ordinary. I'd worn it dozens of times before. It was my home, my space, my comfort. But when the door creaked open and he walked in, everything changed. He froze in place, his eyes locked on me, and for a moment, the silence in the room felt unbearable. I laughed nervously, brushing my skirt down as though it suddenly revealed too much, but that only made things worse. His stare wasn't casual. It was heavy, lingering, filled with something I wasn't prepared to see. I should have spoken. I should have told him to look away, to leave, to break the tension before it swallowed us both. But instead, I stood frozen, feeling his gaze crawl across my skin. "Sorry," he muttered, though his voice was low, almost uncertain. But he didn't turn away. He didn't leave. The air grew thick. My heart raced in my chest, and I found myself unable to move, unable to process what was happening. I had never been looked at that way before, not by him. And yet, here we were, standing in a silence that said far more than words ever could. He stepped closer. Just one step, but it was enough to send shivers racing down my spine. His eyes flicked to the skirt again, and I felt exposed in a way I had never felt before. My instincts told me to stop it, to create distance, but my body betrayed me. I stayed. When his hand brushed against mine, it was like a spark I didn't ask for, didn't want, but couldn't ignore. I gasped, pulling back for a moment, but then he whispered my name, and something inside me cracked. I wish I could tell you that I walked away, that I ended it before the line was crossed. But that's not the truth. The truth is, I let the moment carry me. His touch became firmer, his presence overwhelming, and in that instant, reason slipped through my fingers like sand. The mini skirt had started it, but what followed was something I never could have imagined. By the time it ended, I sat in silence, my world spinning, my heart pounding. He looked at me with a mix of guilt and something else, something darker, something unspoken. And I knew then that we had crossed into a place we could never come back from. That night haunts me still, not because of what he did, but because of what I allowed. A single moment of weakness, a single choice, a single look that changed everything. He looked at me with guilt, but also with something else, something I couldn't read. His chest rose and fell sharply as though he was fighting with himself, caught between regret and desire. I pulled my knees to my chest, clutching the hem of my skirt as if covering myself could undo what had just happened. My heart raced, my breathing uneven, and all I could hear was the echo of what we had allowed to happen. I shouldn't have," he whispered, almost too low to hear. His words were shaky, but his eyes still lingered on me in a way that betrayed every ounce of restraint he tried to hold on to. "You need to go," I said finally, though my voice was trembling. My throat felt tight, like the words were strangling me as they left. For a moment, I thought he would argue, that he would push past the fragile boundary we had just crossed. But instead, he nodded slowly, running a hand through his hair as he stood up. Yet, just before walking out, he paused at the door. His eyes met mine one last time, and the weight of that look said it all. This wasn't over. When the door finally shut, I collapsed against the couch, my hands covering my face. Shame burned in my chest, but alongside it was something I couldn't admit out loud. A part of me hadn't wanted him to stop. That truth terrified me more than anything else. The days that followed were unbearable. Every time I replayed that night in my mind, I felt the same knot tightening in my chest. Shame, guilt, confusion, they all came crashing back in waves. I avoided him as much as I could, keeping conversations short, pretending nothing had happened. But deep down, I knew the silence was only making it worse. When our eyes met again, days later, it was like being pulled back into that living room all over again. That same look was there, unspoken, heavy, impossible to ignore. Neither of us said anything, but we didn't need to. The truth lingered in the air, a secret neither of us dared admit aloud. I still ask myself if I should have stopped at the moment his eyes froze on me that night. If I should have spoken louder, walked away, slammed the door shut on what followed. But the truth is, I didn't. I let the silence speak for me. I let my hesitation become permission. Now, every time I see him, I'm reminded of that night. A night that started with a simple skirt and ended with a choice that changed the way we saw each other forever. Some things can never be undone. And this will haunt me for the rest of my life.